and gentlemen, here we have the Honor 90 mid-tier smartphone. A lot of stuff going for it. This is actually a really interesting phone because, well, it's kind of about the $450, $500 price range, but it has a baseline 256 gigabytes of storage. It has a really big 6.7-inch Full HD display, 120 hertz refresh rate, top class, like really beautiful looking screen, and it has a 200 megapixel camera. 200 MPs, bro and girls. That's a lot. Really surprising. Like, you wouldn't look at this phone and think, okay, this price range, this phone, 200 megapixel camera. Pretty insane. And I'm going to have some samples of some photos here later on in the video. This is the successor to last year's Honor 70. And I actually got the Honor 70 last year, but I never got to make a video because I destroyed it. And I actually have it. I'm going to show it to you in this video if you wait till later on in the video. But you want to watch, like, I should put a label on it because it was violently crushed in a recliner at a movie theater, like in the middle. It's not pretty, but you'll see in a little bit. So the Honor 90, a lot of good things going for it. Like I said, it's got a 5,000 milliamp battery. It comes with a 66 watt charger in the box. So thank you, Honor, for putting a charger in the box. Also comes with, of course, a charging cable and comes with a case. We'll go ahead and put the clear case on here real quick so you can see it. Ta-da! So it's nice. It fits well on there. And it even has a built-in screen protector already on the phone. So you're protected straight out of the box. So even though, yes, it might be a little bit more than like the Pixel 6a, it might be around about the ballpark of the Pixel 7, or even like the Samsung Galaxy A54, I think this is probably the better option from a hardware perspective, as far as also the brilliant screen, and it's got 120 hertz refresh rate, which of course the Pixel 7 doesn't, but the A54 does. I don't care for the A54. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. It's got that crummy Exynos chip in it. This one, Snapdragon 7 Generation 1. And that's a really good chip. I've been a big fan ever since the 7 series chips came out. I've used them in a lot of different phones. And I've even tested this one out previously with this chipset in the Poco F5 earlier this year. It's really good. It gives you plenty of power. But at the same point in time, it's good on battery. It's great whenever you just you need something to get you through the day, but it's got plenty of zip, and it has plenty of power for processing your photos. Lets you play some games, and it just kind of chugs along. It's a really good processor. So all that stuff in here, I think they did a good job with as far as the selection. So a lot of times, you get a mid-series phone, and it's like, okay, it's got this is good, but this is kind of not good. Or it's like, well, this is good, and then this is not good. And there are a few compromises here. I'm just going to get these out of the way. No IP68, no IP67, no wireless charging. And some people don't care for that. I don't really care if it has wireless charging or not because it's got the 66 watt charger in the box, which is nice. I mean, and it recharges quick, fast, and in a hurry. However, I do have to put an asterisk next to this. If you're in the United States, you can't use the charger because it's the international charger. But if you buy a different 66 watt charger, then you're good to go. So that's kind of one of the things. If you buy this internationally, if you're overseas and you can use the international standard charger, then yes, you get the charger in the box. If you buy it and you have it shipped over here to the US, well, that's kind of a different story, but it's not really intended for this market. So even though it's not designed for the US market, this is a global smartphone, so it is capable of doing 5G. I'm using 5G comfortably here in the USA on T-Mobile. So that's nice. So if you're part of my USA audience, that's something that's refreshing. So if you want to go ahead and order it, it'll work here. And the biggest selling point for this phone, I mean, it's premium build quality. It feels nice. It's lightweight. It's under 200 grams. That means it weighs less than half a pound. It's very light and sleek. It's got well over 90% screen to body ratio, which means on the front, it ain't got no bezels. And the bezels, very minimal. Let me turn the brightness down there. So the bezels, very minimal. I mean, that's one of the things about this smartphone. It looks and it feels like a very high-end phone. So even though you're not spending $1,000, $800, you're getting this beautiful screen on the front. The resolution is in between 1080p and Quad HD plus. So it's like, I don't know, 1.5K. it's not 1080p, but it's like 1200. So Quad HD plus is 1440p, then 1080p. It's kind of in the middle. And it's perfectly fine. HDR 10 plus. I mean, there's plenty of brightness going on here. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I can really enjoy my content on here. This is something that looks really nice. And peak brightness 1600 nits. So even when you're using it outside, you can still see the screen really well. And that's way up there. I mean, it's just under like Samsung with their high-end S23 series, those peak out at 1750 nits brightness. So Honor really wanted you to have a nice looking phone with a beautiful screen. And of course, it's 120 hertz refresh rate. It's an AMOLED. It's a really gorgeous looking screen. So I'll let you look at that a little bit more. The software on here is Android 13. It's Magic OS 7. So you're good to go there. One thing that might be a little disappointing, which I don't think is that big of a deal. When it comes to the software updates for this phone, mid-rangers, I give them a little bit more leeway. 2 years of operating system updates, 3 years of security patches. So basically it's good for 3 years. So when you take everything into consideration, like under a $500 phone, you've got the latest and greatest version of Android, you've got a 200 megapixel camera, 5,000 milliamp battery, fast, like really fast charging, and a nice complement of other things, and a flagship quality level screen. 3 years, I think, is probably pretty good in the year 2023. If you take a look at Google, they've got 3 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches. Samsung's 4 years operating system, 5 years security patches. So this is a little bit less than that, kind of close to the Motorola department for what they've had recently. But I think Magic OS is good. It's nice. It's lightweight. It doesn't have a whole lot of skinning going on. There's not a lot of apps that are already loaded on there. And it works smoothly, especially with the Snapdragon 7 Generation 1. Some other things about the phone. You've got USB-C charging on the bottom. Like we said, 66 watts. You've got stereo speakers. The sound is actually pretty nice on here too. There's no headphone jack. There's no SD card slot, which that's pretty much normal, especially for 2023. I don't think those things are really going to come back in pretty much any phone. But these guys here, I think with the baseline 256, that's really good, especially for this price point. When you look at mid-tier phones, $400 or $500, usually they're about the 128 gigabyte realm. So this has 256 and then 8 gigs of RAM minimum, but it goes up to 16. You can pay more and get a higher configured version of this. I have the 12 gigabyte of RAM, 512 storage model. You can get 512 storage and up to 16 gigabytes of RAM. You got to pay more money, but if you feel like you need more, well, they'll sell it to you, and you're capable of getting that as well. And overall, I've really been enjoying using the phone. The cameras are pretty good too. Now, is it S23 Ultra quality? Is it iPhone 14 Pro Max quality? No. But in the mid-tier quality, I think it's better than the Samsung Galaxy A54. I think that it looks really good. I mean, it's probably wedged there between the Pixel 7 and then the A54. So you get a good complement. 200 megapixel camera on the back, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now, that depth sensor is important because it helps give you better portrait shots, and it shows. I think it takes pretty good portrait shots. And then on the front, you have a whopping 50 megapixel camera. And what's refreshing, unlike a lot of the Chinese and global phones that you can get out there, it doesn't limit you to 1080p on the video. It actually does 4K at 30 frames per second. So that's something nice to see as well. And it even has like this dual video mode where you can record on the front camera and the rear camera at the same time. I know it's not novel to the Android world. Samsung's been doing it for a while, but it's nice to see it in here. And let me go ahead and show you as an example so you can see how good the video is in that mode as long as the audio as well. This feature is pretty cool. It's multi-video mode with the Honor 90. It allows you to record on the front and the back at the same time, which is something we've been able to do with other phones like Samsung for a while, but it's really neat to see it in this phone at this price range. And also, of course, they added the 4K 30 frames per second onto the front, which is something that I'm excited about for this phone as well. So pretty neat little feature here when it comes to the video camera. Last couple of things, some housekeeping before we get out of here. We've got Bluetooth 5.2, of course, so that's good for connecting to your audio devices, all that great stuff. It doesn't have wireless charging. It has a plastic back, which it's one of those things that kind of helps save on cost. It's what keeps it from being a $600-700 phone, but it feels nice. At no point in time do I hold on to this phone and think, wow, it feels cheap, it feels plastic. It feels very premium, and I also love how thin it is. I mean, it's such a nice and thin and really sleek phone. It looks gorgeous. I love this color. This may be one of my best, like most favorite looking colors on a smartphone so far this year. Also comes in midnight black and diamond silver, and I think peacock blue as well. So there's some color options there. It has a fingerprint sensor under the screen, which is nice. It works well. If I have one complaint about it, it's a little low. I don't really ever find my thumb down that low. Really at any position, I like it to be a little bit higher. But for being an under-screen optical fingerprint scanner, I have no issues with it. It has facial recognition as well. That works, and no issues with that either. So also it has 5-watt reverse wireless charging. So if you want to plug in a cable to this, so you don't have reverse wireless charging, you have reverse wired charging. So you can charge it at 66 watts, or you can charge something else up to 5 watts, and it'll siphon off of the big battery, which you get all day battery. I have not had any problems with battery on here. 5,000 milliamps. That is a really big battery, especially in a phone so sleek. Normally, if you look at like a lot of mid-tier phones and they've got a big battery in them, they're not this thin. This one has been working out, hitting the gym, and it's got a lot of lean muscle in there for the battery. So that 5,000 milliamp really is a big deal. So that's about all I got. Going to wrap this one up. I've been enjoying using this phone. It is an upgrade over the Honor 70 last year. It's beautiful. I think it's got a good build quality, and it does make some sacrifices, but I think it makes them in the right places. I don't think wireless charging is that big of an issue, especially when you get high-speed 66-watt charging. There is not an IP67, IP68, which that does cost extra money, but it does actually have the little water seal around the SIM tray, so it does give me at least a little bit of hope that it'll be all right if you drop it in a puddle or something real quick. And when it comes to the overall build quality of the phone, I mean, I think it's gorgeous. So, good battery. The cameras, I think, are good. It's one of those things where here we are in the year 2023. If you've got good lighting, you've got nice area outside to take some photos, it even takes decent low light photos. It's not the highest quality in the world, but it takes good photos across the board. So I think when you take a look at the total package, under 500 bucks for the introductory price, and what you can get on the hardware side, and then the Snapdragon 7 Generation 1, I think it was a good all-around selection. This is a good mid-ranger, and it's probably one of my favorite mid-ranger phones so far this year. I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's better than the Pixel 7. I think it's got some good premium build quality stuff. Software, I think the Pixel 7 kind of wins out on there. But when you take a look at the camera setup and you take a look at the screen, I think this is the best looking screen in a $500 phone that I've probably ever seen. I think it's good. And then, of course, the lovely 120 hertz refresh rate as well. So, very thoughtful design, very nice, very sleek, global variant, 5G. It checks a lot of boxes and not a huge hefty price tag, which is super important in 2023, especially considering like the global economy and all that. You don't always want to go out and spend $1,000 on a phone when you got to spend extra money on groceries and utilities and all those other things. And of course, like I said, it comes with the case, screen protector pre-installed. You got the charger in the box and all that stuff. So I think Honor did a really good job here. Now, I got to follow up with my promise in the beginning, and hopefully Honor doesn't get mad at me. So they sent me the Honor 70 last year. A little bit of backstory. I took it with me. I was taking photos. I had dinner with my family, and they're like, hey, let's go see a movie. So we go to watch a movie, and it's got those nice leather recliners, you know, with the heated seats and all that stuff. And I recline it back watching the movie. And then somehow during the movie, it fell out of my shorts pocket and landed right in the little metal mechanism that moves the seat forwards and backwards. So I've had this sitting in like this steel pot in my garage for like a year because I need to dispose of it properly. But this is the back. It looks fine. This is the front. It didn't survive. So that's why y'all never got to see my Honor 70 review last year. But yeah, I'm sorry, Honor. But I do appreciate Honor sending the Honor 90 out to me so I could test it out, even though I completely destroyed the Honor 70 last year. So I think it's a good phone. I like what Honor's doing. They're doing some really nice and refreshing things, especially in like the mid-tier space and getting some global options out there as well. So we'll go and wrap this one up. If you have any questions or comments, of course, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you did, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.